Good evening. We're going to call to order the November 10th council meeting this evening. Our first thing on the agenda tonight is to ask Chief Kevin Arnold to come and say our prayer for us, and then the Pledge of Allegiance will be said by Chief Bill Culbertson right after, if you'll stand.
If everyone would please join me in prayer. Father in heaven, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for many blessings that you continue to bestow upon this community. We ask that you continue to watch over our citizens and keep them safe, and watch over all of our employees and keep them safe. Father, as we approach Veterans Day, we'd like to thank you for our veterans. Please watch over them, and please be with all of our citizens that are struggling with sickness and with death, and please give them comfort and strength as they fight this. Father, we say all these things in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief Arnold and Chief Culbertson. We appreciate that. Diane, will you do roll call, please?
Councilman Coe.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Morrell.
Present.
Councilwoman Peebles. Here. Councilman Short.
Here.
Councilman Sullivan.
Present.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Here.
Mayor Reed.
All right, thank you, Diane. Next, we have an approval or correction of the minutes. Council, have you looked these over? They seem to be in order.
In order, Vice Mayor.
Do we have any corrections from the council or comments? If none, we'll take a motion for the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Have a second? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That carries. Brian, correspondence or communications tonight?
Nothing this evening.
Nothing this evening. We'll move on to awards and recognitions. Anybody getting any awards or recognitions tonight?
Nothing this evening.
Not even HG?
Not even HG.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is things that were worked out in the workshop, and we will read through these real quick. The council has the privilege, if they'd like, to pull anything off of here and speak to it individually. And if not, we'll wrap this up after we finish discussing it and take a motion on it. So, item A, the approval of the terms of the authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Tennessee Rehabilitation Center relative to the practice field area. Item B, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Life Point Church relative to their practice field area. Item C, approval of terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Miracle Recreation relative to the installation of the new playground at Old Rock School, the J.J. McWilliams Park. Item D, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Stansell Electric as the lowest responsive responsible bidder for the ITS Phase 1, Phase 2 project. Item E, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Garland DBS, Inc. relative to the Streets Vehicle Maintenance Building Roof Overlay Project using Tim Leeper Roofing. Item F, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Thomas and Hutton relative to NEPA, engineering design, right-of-way acquisition support, and utility clearance for the Florence Road sidewalk project. Item G, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract addendum with James C. Haley relative to the Sam Ridley Weekly Lane waterline upgrade. Item H, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Cigna relative to the town's employee health, dental, vision, and stop-loss coverages. And item I, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Kurzinski and Associates Consulting Engineers to evaluate the HVAC load of the event center in SOAC, then to prepare construction plans and specifications for bidding purposes. Is there any item on here that the council wishes to pull off? And if none, I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Have a motion from Jerry.
Second.
Second from Steve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. Moving on to old business. First item on old business tonight, Kevin.
The first several items under old business are all tied to one request, one project. It's just several different ordinances and resolutions to look at. First one is the plan of services. It's for 3 separate parcels of land, tax map 50, parcels 1, 2, and 4. It's about 252.6 acres. This has been requested for annexation. The plan of services would put in writing all the services the town would be responsible for upon effective date of annexation. And in this area, the town would be providing all services. The planning commission did review this and did recommend approval.
All right. This is a public hearing, so we will invite the public to come to the podium. If there's anybody present, we'll open the public hearing for discussion. If anybody would like to discuss this, they're welcome to come to the podium and address it now. And seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Go to the council for a motion.
I move we approve.
Have a motion to approve and a train whistle. What else?
I'll second.
And a second from Steve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Item B, Kevin.
Yeah, item B, there are 2 separate ordinances regarding the zoning of the annexation and zoning of the parcels that you just looked at for the plan of services. This first one is for the relative to the annexation and PRD zoning. It's for, again, the parcels we just talked about containing approximately 197.1 acres. It's requested by Brett Smith, and it's on behalf of Encompass Land Group. It's also on behalf of CPS Land as well. So it's actually both of those, just for the record. The recommendation also includes the annexation of approximately 3,400 feet of the existing right-of-way of Rocky Fork Road. Again, this was the PRD portion of the request. This is one, of course, council has looked at this several times. The PRD portion is 191.6 acres, 1,204 units total amongst 3 different housing types. Again, you all looked at this on first reading, did recommend approval, or Planning Commission did recommend approval, and you all did approve it on first reading with several conditions which are dictated in your the agenda summary as well. The developer and the representation is here if you have any questions. But again, this is nothing has changed on this request from what you looked at on first reading. That's all that I've got.
Do you care to cover item C while you're up?
Sure. Item C is just a memorandum and the resolution and memorandum of the ordinance. This is just to make us in compliance with state law that all annexations have to be done by resolution, not ordinance. So.
We'll have a public hearing on this as well, and I want to make sure if anybody had any questions about that, we can include them. All right, so this is a public hearing. We will open the podium to the public. If there's anybody who would like to come speak for or against, we'll welcome that now. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and go to the council for a motion.
I'll move we approve.
Have a motion from Tim.
Second.
Is that Jerry? Yep. Second from Jerry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Have 1 nay. Raquel. All right, so motion carries. Now, item C, we'll take a motion on it.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from Steve.
Second.
Second from Tim. Further discussion?
I got a question. It looks like both of these, the ordinance we just did and then this one also, both talk about the annexation of the road. Which one does it fall in, or does it fall in both of them? Is that? It's kind of a relevant thing.
I'll defer to Mr. Peach on that.
Effectively, by item B that you just voted, it is annexed. However, because it could be dependent upon both, I included it on both in case you approved one and not the other.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving to item D, this is a public hearing. Kevin?
Yeah, this is just the portion of the property, the 61 acres. So the summary on here just say 55 and a half. There's actually 61 acres total with the project there. Would be zone C2. this was only affecting parcel 4, which is why, I think it's why it reflects 55 and a half. Again, it was requested by Brett Smith on behalf of Encompass Land Group and CPS Land. Again, talks about the annexation of the right-of-way there as well. Again, this is really just for the C2 portion of the development that of this overall development project. Again, the Planning Commission did recommend approval, and you all, nothing has changed on this since you looked at it on first reading.
And the housekeeping on item E as well, so.
That's, yeah, the exact same thing regarding the
Right.
memorandum, resolution, memorandum of the ordinance.
All right, so this is a public hearing, so we'll open up the podium to the public. If anybody would like to come speak for or against this, we welcome them to the podium at this time. Seeing nobody, we will close the public hearing, go to the council for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Jerry.
I have a second, but I also have a question.
Is that a second, then we'll open for discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a quick clarification on the 55 acres.
Okay, so we do
So-
have a second, now it's discussion.
Yeah, so are we voting on the 55 or the 61?
I think it's 61 acres total. I think as far as the zoning piece of it, if you zone commercial though.
Yeah, whatever is being zoned commercial would be the amount.
Yes.
61 acres.
61 acres.
61 acres.
Okay.
It is 61 acres, yes.
So I'm still good with my second, as long as
Yeah.
Jerry's good with his first.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any other discussion on this? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? One no, and that's Raquel. Motion carries. Item F, another public hearing, Kevin.
You still need to vote on.
Oh, I'm
E.
sorry, item E, we need to vote on that. Need to take a motion on item E.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion from Steve,
Second.
second from Tim. Any other discussion on item E? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item E carries. Now, item F, public hearing.
Let me get to the drawing here. Yeah, item F is a public hearing. This is a rezoning request for a parcel of land on Old Nashville Highway. There you go. It's map 33, parcel 39. It's requested by Alcorn Properties LLC. It's to be rezoned from R3 to PRD. It's about 2.82 acres of land. It's at 11819 Old Nashville Highway. The proposed PRD is for a townhome development, 24 units. Access would be from Old Nashville Highway. Again, there is an existing house and garage that would be removed. Townhouses would have a range of 1464 to 1815 with one-car garages. There would be a buffer adjoining the single-family residential area, which are all zoned R3. Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval with 3 conditions, which are listed there in the agenda summary as well. I think that's all I've got. Again, nothing has changed on this since you looked at it on first
Okay.
reading.
All right, this is a public hearing, so we will open up the podium to the public. If anybody would like to come speak for or against, you're welcome to come to the podium and do that at this time. Seeing nobody, we will close the public hearing and go to the council for a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a motion from Jerry.
I do have a question about this one.
Okay.
There was a question that came in from the fire department this afternoon about being able to get an apparatus on the streets. Can you let us know what the,
Yeah, we did receive a revised plan since the first reading. I sent that over to the fire department. They still had some concerns about it. I talked to the design engineer on it, and he said he's obviously very willing to still work through that, but that still is something that is a condition in the approval. I think we probably still need to keep that as a condition because it is still not completely ironed out yet.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that condition stayed on this.
I knew that was a condition originally as well.
It was. It's still listed. It's number 3 on your list there.
Right.
Yeah.
All right,
Sorry,
so
I apologize.
I'm assuming, that's fine. Jerry, you want to make your motion subject to conditions, right?
I will.
Okay, so Jerry's made a motion subject to those conditions and approvals. Do we have a second? Second from Tim. Any other discussion?
Yeah, so what happens if it can't meet that condition?
Then they can't develop it. I mean, they'll have to meet that condition. That's something that can be, certainly when there'll be a lot more detailed plans when the site plan, the construction plans get done, and we can look at that much more closely, and I think the engineer can, as well as the fire department.
So if it doesn't come back with any significant, whatever that means, significant
Right.
changes, then it would go on.
If the layouts, yeah, if the layout stays the same number of units, they just tweak the geometry on the road or something like that to make it work, then that'll be a minor issue that we can look at the site plan.
Kevin, how's the density on this one compare with the complex across Old Nashville Highway?
It's less. This is about 8.5 units per acre. I can't remember exactly what that one is, but it was
It's a
greater
lot,
than that.
it's a lot more dense across the street.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Kevin? So we have a motion and a second completed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, Planning Commission report. Item 1, consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28, parcel 87.04, requested by Jaime Gonzalez from R3 to C2. Property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 4.81 acres and is located at 815 Rock Springs Road. This is a first reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is just a rezoning request at 815 Rock Springs Road. It's about 900 feet east of the intersection with Old Nashville Highway. Land use plan would support a medium-density residential, single-family residential development here. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R3, R6, and C2. There is no on-site sewer access to this property, so the development would require an easement, regardless of the zoning. Development would require an easement across one of the adjoining properties that front Old Nashville Highway. The water line from Needham Drive or Old Nashville Highway would also have to be extended to provide adequate fire flow. There is an existing 6-inch water line there, but it's not adequate for commercial uses for fire flow purposes. The Planning Commission that did review this did recommend denial of this request. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Kevin. Tim and I saw this come up last week. I'm going to kind of turn it over to Tim a little bit and just let him kind of explain maybe some of the stuff we dove into as to why we felt like this wasn't a good fit for a C2 with a blanket coverage. We just don't know what the plan even is at this point, and so. Tim, want to shed some light on that?
Yeah, if I miss anything, please just step in. I've slept a few days since then. But, you know, first of all, the lot in itself was narrow and challenging. And so we had concerns as far as the ingress and egress from it. C2, of course, opens it up to a lot more possibilities as far as what could go there. And that in and of itself create additional challenges as well. So being the way the lot is configured and seeing that we do have a lot of residential that surrounds it, we felt like this would be more conducive to a PUD for us to look at it. And again, you know, things as far as usage, access, parking, there are a lot of things to consider, especially the way this is laid out. And Mark, if I missed anything.
No, I think you covered it well. The configuration of that lot was one of the things we talked about at great depth, and talked to Kevin and staff about how they felt about the recommendation as well. I think they were a little uneasy about it as well.
Yeah.
The width of that lot, being a C2 lot, would really, it could cause some congestion trying to get from one business to another business on that lot, having to go behind one or behind another, and then no other way in and out except right there at Rock Springs Road. So I think, Tim, you covered it well, but if there's any questions or comments, we'll try to answer it for you.
The only comment I was going to say is I noticed in the summary it was talking about no on-site sewer access and not enough water flow to support commercial. So even if this was a PRD or something, there would be some infrastructure issues no matter how it came in. So a plan is going to be very important to know how we could even supply the utilities or what we could supply.
And in that discussion you had about those utilities, did you say it was the owner's responsibility to get those easements, or would be ours?
It would be the owner's responsibility, yes.
Good questions. Any others? All right, so we need to take a motion on this. Anybody wants to offer one up?
I'll move we deny this request.
So we have a motion to deny,
Second.
and a second from Raquel. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Item 2, consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance to amend Article 2, Section 2.030 definitions, Article 4, Section 4.010, off-street parking requirements, Article 5, Sections 5.052.1C and 52.2C, uses permitted as special exemptions in Article 7, Section 7.061.17, special conditions for microbreweries, micro-oneries, and micro-distilleries. This is a first reading, and I think, have you got that, or are we giving that to Mr. Pete?
I
You've
got it.
Okay.
I have it. Yeah, this is there's a lot of different sections of the zoning ordinance mentioned here. And this is basically, this is something we did as a staff. We drew this up as a response. We've had some inquiries from someone considering locating a microbrewery in Smyrna. We had a request to annex the existing winery on Allenville Road, which was withdrawn at the Planning Commission, but may be coming back. And so we wanted to address this because currently manufacturing of alcoholic beverages is only allowed in I-1, I-2, I-3, or A-1, which is the airport. These amendments of various sections would have the effect of allowing manufacturing of alcoholic beverages in the C1 and C2 districts with a special exception review by the Board of Zoning Appeals. There would be limits as to the size of the building, as well as requirements regarding outdoor storage, loading zones, screening, parking. There are also several provisions within TCA that would apply. Those provisions, amongst many other things, would actually limit the amount, which is the actual volume of beverages that can be produced annually to be considered a micro-type facility. Staff does recommend consideration of this amendment. We believe this would be could be a very appropriate use maybe in some of the commercial areas in the Depot District or potentially other places in town. But with that BZA review, there would be that additional review. There would be the opportunity for adjoining property owners or neighbors to speak at a public meeting if they have concerns about the specific location that maybe is being proposed. The Planning Commission did review these amendments and did recommend approval.
So, Kevin, one question on the restrictions of the building size. It looks like when I'm reading the actual changes that it restricts the amount of building that can be used for the microbrewery, right?
It does.
It's not overall building size, so it could be a 10,000 square foot facility, but only 4,000 can be a microbrewery.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
If you had 6,000, if it was in a commercial,
I just want to make sure I understood it,
multiple users in
because
it.
it sounded like we were limiting the size of the building
yeah, it's just the size for the use.
dedicated to
Yeah.
this use, right? Okay.
Those are actually micro wineries. I called them micro
Micro-oneries,
oneries.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think I was feeling a little ornery at the time.
I wasn't going to laugh at you, but I
Thank you.
thought the
Well,
same thing.
I caught it myself, so thank you. Further questions for Kevin? Or from council, staff, anybody?
I will add that, obviously, zoning needs to come first. For microbreweries, the town would be able to do that under the municipal code, outside the zoning code. However, for winery or anything over 0.08%, currently, under our ordinance, municipal code, the town does not allow manufacturing of alcoholic beverages as defined by the code, which is over 0.08, which would, so I am bringing it to you at the workshop to consider about wineries and those types of things, to separate those from making something like whiskey, those types of things as well.
And it does have to meet BZA approval in the process, correct?
Sure, the BZA approval, and of course, any provisions in our municipal code, because
Yeah.
most of these you're gonna have, in addition to the manufacturing, you're gonna have the sale. And so, obviously, you have to meet those requirements, distance from churches and schools and those kind of things and all that kind of stuff, because you do have on-site, at times on-site sales for on and off-premise consumption, so.
So Jeff, just to follow up on what you were saying, so you said you're gonna bring the additional ordinance changes regarding winery because of the
Correct.
limit. The limit is higher.
Correct, at this
Would you
next
have to-
workshop.
Would that require additional changes to our ordinance or no?
To the municipal code,
To
yes.
the code, okay.
But this way, you've got the zoning set up so that in case the council does vote to allow wineries, then you would already have the zoning set up if someone came in instead of vice versa, where you approve to allow it, but yet you don't have any mechanism for the zoning.
Okay.
Further questions? Comments?
And just, of course, I think everyone understands this. This doesn't zone anything specifically, doesn't approve anybody to do this. It just allows for the mechanism in place for us to do it in
Right.
the future.
It's a growing trend, so we need to address it in some fashion to give people the opportunity to bring their requests to the board. All right, if no further questions, we'll take a motion.
I'll move we approve.
We have a motion from Tim,
Second?
second from Steve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Is any opposed? That motion carries. Package liquor report, no applications for the council to consider at this time, so let's see. Consideration of an ordinance to amend ordinance number 19-27, adopting the 2019-2020 fiscal year budget, and this is a first reading. And there's Rex. Welcome in, Rex.
Thank you. Good to be here. These are the 2020 fiscal year-end budget amendments. The general fund and capital projects fund have some line items that need appropriated. These amounts are offset by current year revenues and fund balance. I think we had a good year. The departments did a really good job managing their budgets. Out of a $45 million budget, we had $93,800 that were related to revenues and expenditures to do budget amendments. We were fortunate enough to have a $4.1 million surplus that we transferred to the capital projects fund for future capital projects. And a lot of these are related to grant revenues that we received after the budget process had already started. We didn't know what to budget, so if there's any questions, I'll be glad to address those.
You know, I don't necessarily have a question, just a comment to all the people that work here and the department heads and the directors and the employees for helping us maintain a healthy budget and to be able to operate and still have a surplus at the end of the year. To me, says a lot about the people that are watching their budgets. And so just a thank you to all of you guys out there that do this every day and kind of keep your thumb on the pulse of the finances. And Rex, you and your department, not only being an assistant town manager, but also overseeing the finance department as you do. It's a big chore. 45 million is a lot to watch.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
a good team effort. We got good folks here.
It is, and we've made a lot of improvements over this past year with some roads and things. Some is state-oriented, we've pitched in and helped, and some of them are local. And we have a lot of things coming, so we're planning ahead. And thank you all for doing that. Any other questions for Rex? You got off light tonight.
Yeah, the mayor likes to put me on the spot.
She does, but she's not here. Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to other. Do we have other? Nothing?
Or we need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Come here, Rex, in case we turn you down. Just kidding. We need a motion on this item C.
I'll move we approve.
You want to keep him hanging? You want to keep him hanging? No?
Nah.
Okay, we have a motion from Tim and a second from Raquel. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now you can leave.
Thank
We
you.
couldn't have done that last part without you, Brad.
No other. How about status reports? It's a quiet bunch out there tonight, a little worried.
I have nothing.
How about you, Brian?
I do have a couple of things I'd like to share under announcements. Let's see if we've got some stuff. Okay, so Town Hall will be closed Wednesday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day, which is tomorrow. At 11 o'clock tomorrow, we will have a small ceremony with our veterans here in front of the building. So anybody that would like to come out and join us, it'll be, we're keeping it kind of small because of the COVID situation, but we will be working with the VFW here locally off of Old Nashville Highway. I believe that's post 8422, and we look forward to that. Next, the Smyrna annual Christmas food drive is revving up a little bit. We're starting to see some cans of food showing up out in the sleigh and also at the town event center and the truck down there. So I hope you guys are taking us serious. I'm not going to say anything about any of the individual folks that are working, but we got somebody going after the new title of King of the Food drive, and Raquel, you might want to be careful. There's somebody easing up on you down on the other end. So just want to plant a
You're not
seed.
scared, are you?
No.
So,
She's got it.
so she's got a little competition this year. He's got a little serious. So, but we had a nice promo today on Channel 2 that we participated in, and you know, this year's a little different without having the parade and those kind of things, but the food drive is very important to us, and it's important to our community. Right on the heels of that, the Smyrna Fire Department has their 19th annual firefighters for food drive. Food drive. Say that's this Saturday, November the 14th. They'll be out in front of Walmart on Enid Springs Road. They always do a great job there. We get a lot of participation. Chief, what did you gather last year? Somewhere around 22,000. So that's a great opportunity, and we appreciate the fire department for stepping up and doing what they do with the food drive as well. Again, a little different. I don't know if the schools are going to participate this year or not. So again, if you're out and about, go by Walmart and help them out, because the schools are, because of COVID, so many of the schools are closed. So we're hitting some speed bumps, but we're not giving up.
Well, one question, Chief's got a new fire truck, does he not?
He does have a new fire truck.
I would think he could load that up double what he got last year. That's a big truck. Just kidding, Chief.
Chief says, move on. And next, Smyrna Court Clerk's Office, Clerks for Coats. Remind everybody, November the 1st through the end of November, the Clerks Department, Gill's Ace Hardware, Marty Luffman State Farm, Tennessee Chiropractic Alliances are collection points for the coats. This is not only coats, but hats, scarves, and gloves for the children. Because of COVID this year, we're asking that all donations be new items. In the past, we've been able to take some used items, but just want to be on the precautionary side with that. So the coat drive, and these are much needed, and it's our children from kindergarten through 6th grade. So if you can help us out with that. It's that season of giving around the holidays. I want to also announce the town of Smyrna wishes each of you a happy Thanksgiving. This is the last meeting we'll have before Thanksgiving holiday. We will be closed on November the 26th and November 27th to celebrate the holidays. You know, as we think about that and we close our offices, I just want to point out that we want to thank our fire, police, water treatment, wastewater treatment plant, and those personnel that will continue to work to make sure that we're receiving the services that we need to keep us safe and to make sure that the water and the sewer and those kind of things flow during those holiday seasons. They are essential operations folks, and they don't get to take the day off. So thank them for the work that they'll be doing during that time. The last thing I have, just very quickly, unfortunately, I have to share some information about some deaths with some of our employees as far as their family members. Crystal Cole Zaragoza I said that, Zaragoza. She lost her father last week, and I know they would appreciate our prayers. Beth Morris in our finance department, her sister died unexpectedly. Dennis Johnson, who works in our codes department, lost his father-in-law this past week. And then also just one individual in the community that we do a lot of work with as a developer, which is Mike Hollingshead, and the passing of his father, Darrell Hollingshead. And I shared that with the council today. Just wanted to wish those family members, it's tough to lose a loved one when you're even expecting it. It's never easy, but around these holiday seasons, it's even tougher. And this year, with COVID and everything we've dealt with, I know it's got to be a tough time for these folks. So I know they would covet your prayers during this time. So that's all I've got.
And Brian, you touched on all the people that make this operation run, and Thanksgiving wishes to all of them. I know that soon we'll all get a chance to gather around with our employees in smaller atmospheres and celebrate Thanksgiving and their appreciation as well. So to all of our employees out there, this is a different year. It's like no other I personally have never seen, anybody's ever seen before. 2020 has been awfully strange, but we want all of you that work here to know that we appreciate their work. Looking forward to having some time with you guys later this month and just celebrating and coming together and being thankful. So, Jeff, do you have anything?
Thanks to the veterans.
Yep. Raquel?
Condolences to all of the individuals that Brian mentioned, the Zaragoza family, Miss Beth, Dennis Johnson, and Mr. Hollingshead. My prayers go out to you and your families. I'd also like to say happy Thanksgiving, since we won't be gathering again, it seems, and before then. And I'd also want to say thank you to the citizens on I'm just going to talk about locally, on the local election. Thank you to everyone who came out and voted for Steve and Tim and myself. The turnout was a pleasant surprise. So to everyone who did come out and vote, I appreciate your vote, and I'm sure they also do as well. So thank you for taking my time to do that.
Thanks, Raquel. HG?
Also condolences to all who have lost family this week, and one that hadn't been mentioned was Miss Billy Lee, who passed away. She was a longtime member of our community and well thought of amongst the community. I think each of you council people have one of these in front of you right there. It's a sticker and it says 68% on it. On the back side of it, it says, "Thank you for shopping local." 68% of every dollar you spend with us stays here in this community. That makes you a 68%er. So I want to encourage all of our citizens to be 68%ers. And essentially what that means is that if you spend $1 in a locally owned independent business, 68% of that dollar is turned back into our community. And of course, when you shop at other local businesses, then that number deteriorates, but it still gets greater, all the way down to when you shop at Amazon, and none of it comes back to our community. So think about the local independent businesses and how much of their tax dollars are turned back into our community, how much also that these are the people who are supporting your kids' ball teams. These are the businesses that are supporting the local high schools, and they're what makes Smyrna unique. So, moving right along.
You want to talk about Small Business Saturday on the 28th?
That's the Saturday after Thanksgiving,
Yes.
as a matter of fact. Thank you for reminding
Yeah,
me
well,
of that.
you're on your spiel, and
There you go.
I feel like I just took Mr. Davenport's math class, but good job.
Keep going, right. Also, great appreciation for all of our veterans. We wouldn't have a great country as we do without our veterans. And just a few days before Thanksgiving, on November 22nd, my first grandson will have his 6th birthday. And he's a fine young man. He's not taken after me. He's a good fella. But then also I want to say something. I have somebody in my life, and I hope each of you have somebody in your life that always has your back, that gives you support, and that you can count on in whatever happens to you. And that person for me is my mother. My mother's birthday is tomorrow, and I want to wish my mother, Mary Lou Thomas, a very, very happy birthday. She's a real deal.
You're a good son.
I think she's about 50 now.
I wouldn't put her a day over it.
Not a day over.
Uh-uh.
Her and Mary Esther about the same age. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, HG. Tim, what have you got?
Again, I would like to express my condolences to our employees that have lost family members over the last week or so. To the Hollingshead family, Mike, Jeff Ryan, and their families, express my condolences there. To our veterans, Steve, veterans that we have in the audience, thank you for your service. The ones at home, thank you for your service. We're here because of you. I would like to thank everyone for participating in the vote and express my gratitude for being reelected to a fourth term. I look forward to serving and continuing to do my part for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Jerry?
Also, as well, want to thank the veterans. Certainly appreciate what you all have done, your sacrifice for the country, for your families. Certainly appreciative of it. Those that have lost loved ones, also want to send my condolences to them as well. I think I heard HG mention it. I'm on the other end, so sometimes I don't hear everything, but I had the Lee family down here, and I think HG might have mentioned them as well, but certainly want to thoughts and prayers to Roger and Teresa, and just thinking about them and the loss of Billy. And then the last thing, I just want to say congratulations to my nephew, Sam Short. Sam was recently promoted to CEO of Southern Bank of Tennessee, which there is an office here in Smyrna. The headquarters is in Mount Juliet, but Sam's been with them for a while and well-deserving, so congratulations to Sam.
You think he'd give you a loan?
I doubt it. I wouldn't.
He's retired, what income?
Jerry's on that fixed income now, right?
Debt to income's not good.
Jerry's at all?
That's it.
Thank you. Steve?
A few things. I'll also add my condolences, especially to the Hollingshead family. I saw that Mike's dad passed away. It's always tough to lose a family member, but it makes it a little more sensitive around the holidays. So our condolences are with you, and we'll pray for your peace. Thank you guys for your support. Today is actually, if you're a Marine, you call today your birthday, but it's the Marine Corps birthday. 1775 in a bar named Tunn's Tavern. The Marine Corps was founded on a bar napkin, so that's why we act the way we do, because that's where we came from. So, but happy birthday to all the Marines out there, Semper Fi. And also the election. Obviously, we're still, instead of election day, it's now election week or election month or whatever it's going to be. I really want to thank all the folks in Smyrna that came out to support myself and Tim and Raquel, amongst the other candidates. And honestly, the civil and the professional and respectful way that our elections were held. We had no issues in Rutherford County or really much even in the state, but Smyrna and Rutherford County, we did it with class like we always do, and I appreciate constituents doing that. Thank you for giving me another chance and 4 more years of serving you guys, and I look forward to it, and I'm excited. So I think got a lot of momentum started that we can get to continue now, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I think we all are. So, is that all?
That's it.
Good. I've got a few housekeeping items, I think, that will be on the screen here, and then I'll have a couple things to say as I wrap up. But the virtual Christmas lighting ceremony. Virtual Christmas lighting ceremony. Usually we do this in person, but this year it's going to be a little bit different. And you'll see some information on your screen about that on November the 23rd at 6 p.m. Santa and Mrs. Claus will join Mayor Reed and the Town Council to throw the switch, as we normally do, to turn the Christmas lights on in town. You can watch this virtually and live online or on television. You see those addresses there: Smyrna TV on Comcast Channel 3, Town of Smyrna's Facebook page, Smyrna Parks and Recreation Facebook page, and Cablecast Screen Weave app on Roku and Apple TV. Also, the deadline to nominate individuals for the Lifetime Service and Young Leader Awards has been extended to December of 10th. If you know somebody that you would like to nominate, please make sure you look at the information there, townofsmyrna.org, Parks and Recreation, and turn those individuals' names in so they can be considered. Congratulations to the people that all were reelected here, Tim, Raquel, and Steve. I know the mayor's not here this evening. I think I speak for her as well. It's a privilege and an honor, and to be able to come and work with people every day here at the town. Brian and the staff, everybody out there that we've mentioned, Jeff, Diane, all of you. I know that you will join me in welcoming these people back, because they bring a lot of they add a lot to our council level, their intellectual level, as far as being able to keep up with what the town's doing. There's a lot to this job, and they all do it seamlessly, and they do it well. So I'm looking forward to working alongside each one of you again, and want to congratulate you. I tried to call each one of you personally the day after the election, just to let you know officially that congratulations were in order. So we're excited about having you all back and having this team back together and moving the town forward. With that said, I've got a couple of other things I'll add. I think that's all that we had on the screen. Some people have mentioned some condolences this evening, and I'd like to do the same. Prayers and condolences, obviously, to Beth, Crystal, Dennis Johnson here at the city for their losses. Mike Hollingshead's father was mentioned earlier. The Lee families were mentioned earlier. Got a couple friends in town that have lost loved ones as well, fathers or mothers at this time of year. Specifically, Pat Hood, who is my pastor at my church, lost his father just this past week. And so his mother is not in a condition where she has a lot of help, and they're just struggling with what to do there. So lifting up the Hood family. Teresa Barnett, Stephen, Teresa lost her mother last week. Eugene and Angela Cox lost their mother. Angela lost her mother last week. Lloyd Boner, a friend of mine, lost his father last week. Mike Strange, you've been there recently with a loss in your household, and so we just want to lift all those people up, let them know that we haven't forgot them. We want to mention the community and ask that you pray for those families. Also, specifically, I've asked Mary Esther if it's okay if I mention this. Mary Esther, our mayor, is currently in quarantine. So she is trying to heal from COVID, and many of her family members as well are also trying to heal. It started in her household, and it got a hold of their household. I think they're mostly on the mend, but specifically we want to say a prayer and lift up Esther, her mother, who's been dealing with it in more detail than the rest of them. So if you would, just send your best wishes to Mary Esther and her family as they deal with the COVID that so many families are dealing with right now. Teachers and staff, man, I'll tell you what, I'm married to somebody who works at the school every day, and if you have somebody like that in your family, you know it's a challenge at these schools each day. So don't forget these teachers, their assistants, the staff, the students, the parents that these students go home to, the bus drivers, everybody that's involved with school right now is just really, really having to fight a battle of how do we teach the kids, how do we keep them safe, and teachers they're having to miss some school. It's putting a burden, a load on a lot of the staff there. So just remember our schools and our teachers and those that serve our children. Lastly, I do want to say thank you to the veterans that I know, specifically my mom, who has since passed, and my father, both served in the United States Air Force. I'm a child of that upbringing, And so I have a special place in my heart for veterans, and so I want to say thank you to them and for all that they've done. Steve, you and your family are part of that. And we couldn't have the freedoms and do the things we do without the sacrifices of those veterans and their families. What people don't understand is their families are a big part of that. They have to move around the country. They have to make sacrifices along with the person serving. So we want to make sure they're lifted up. My dad is a veteran. I mentioned that. He was 91 last week. He is still kicking. And just want to say happy birthday to my father. Real quickly, the food drive. Mary Esther asked me just to promote this hard. This is near and dear to her heart, and I know Brian's already brought it up. But guys, this is a time of the year that, first of all, puts a big load on the need for food in families' homes. There's a lot of need for that. Secondly, when you add COVID to it, there's people that have been obviously put out of work during the pandemic, and so there's a strong, strong need for additional emphasis to be placed on this food drive this year. If we can get our community to rally. Sean's here. Sean handed me a check this evening to be a supporter of that, and we just need to gather around and make sure people understand this is a crucial time. Raquel's on the throne of being able to collect a lot of funding last year for that. She did an amazing job. She made us all look bad, so we got to take her down. And she ain't scared, right? I think that's all I have. So, one last thing. There's a spaghetti lunch this weekend at the Senior Center. I think 11 to 2. Come get you some spaghetti and help our seniors out. Is there anything I missed? Well, I covered a lot.
Probably.
Okay, probably a lot. Anything else? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you all.